Chuck, do you remember the discussion we had? Schwellenbach had 2 incredible starts at the beginning of the year. You guys remember it was like 7 dominant innings both start. The conversation right away was like, sign him long-term. That one happened very quickly of like, is he the next to get the long-term deal? And I remember we came on and said, I love Schwelly. Think a ton about him. I'm not signing him long-term. There's no reason to. There's no impetus to unless you're just worried about him dominating for 5 years and you'll get a year or 2 cheaper than you would get on the market. I think a lot of Braves fans today would be killing Alex Anthopoulos if the Braves gave Schwelly the contract. Not because he's not worth it, but because the injury risk that comes along after Schwelly became the latest victim of the elbow injury. And I don't know if he's giving doctors talk to him or he's just guessing that he thinks the velo uptick led to the injury. So he joins the entire rotation. I'm not making this up. Strider missed the first month, recovering from the internal brace surgery. AJSS on the shelf with the Tommy John. Chris Sale has funky things. It's not an elbow or an arm. It's the ribs. Like, he has funky stuff, so he has that. Raylo had the arthroscopic surgery on his elbow, and now Schwelly with his.
Bryce Elder's the only member of the starting rotation who you've had access to the entire season.
But he wasn't even in the top 5 to start.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's the only one you've had access to. You hadn't used him, but you could have used him. He's the only guy. That's not good.
Why do you think he stays healthy?
Because there's a bigger topic about this. You are exactly right. He throws
90. Couldn't break glass.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. Like, there was a point, I know on this radio station, I heard from you guys on socials back in the day, sign Soroka now. I said, why? What's your reason? Sign Ian now. Why? What's the reason? Well, sign Kyle. He just won 20. Why? This is the running back theory of these young pitchers. There's a whole generation. Like, I was just reading Hunter Green, and you watch more baseball than me. Hunter Green, for those who don't know, is the stud pitcher for the Reds. Hunter Green's had some elbow stuff. He's already had Tommy John. He had another time where they had arm fatigue.
Yeah, he throws like a 96 slider.
But you know what his big thing is? He keeps getting groin injuries. And everybody's like, he's too muscular. He pushes off with too much torque on the legs. It's his 3rd time now he's missed significant time. I wouldn't pay any of these pitchers. I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole. I'm going to have you for 5 years. I'm going to then have to make a very difficult decision. I might have to pay you because you're so good and you've stayed healthy. But until we get to that point, I'm not doing it.
Okay. Can we have a little bit of the bigger conversation?
Sure.
Because we need to finish this sentence. All right. Here is the sentence that most of us say. Guys can't keep throwing this fast. And that's true. They can't keep throwing that fast. But let's finish the sentence. They can't keep throwing that fast without having the ligament like tear from the bone, all right? And so, well, why do they? Because if you don't, then you're Bryce Elder. Real quick, you want to, like, top of mind, just real quick informal quiz. Think of how many, like, pre-West Coast baseball. So that's what, like 58, 59, 60. Pre-West Coast baseball, how many all-time great, iconic hitters can you think of? Cobb, DiMaggio, Ruth, Gehrig, Aaron, Mays, ton of them. How many iconic all-time pitchers can you think of? Like 4. Why? They were all strikeout pitchers. Why? Because up until about 25 years ago, it was okay to have contact. Now, you can't have contact. Hitters have gotten too good.
Sure.
This is all on the fact that if you don't throw velocity, hitters have gotten too good. So when we say, guys can't keep throwing this fast, okay, if they don't throw this fast, they're Bryce Elder.
But you know where I am on this, right? This is not a Major League Baseball problem. This is a 14-year-old baseball problem. You're 14 years old. It starts then. We're veloing. We're radar gunning. And Glavin, who just came on, said the other thing. It's not just the velo. It's the velo and the torque on the braking stuff. The elbow and arm is not going to last. You start throwing max effort at 14. You get to about 24. You've already had Tommy John. You'll have it again. You'll have internal brace. You'll have all these. It's going to get them all. We're going to live in the era where they're all going to deal with it. And you're going to have to pick and choose very carefully who you pay. And you can argue, and we said at the time, the Strider signing was the riskiest for obvious reasons. And he's been on the shelf already after you gave him the deal. You knew the risk because of the way he throws. That's what's going to come with all these guys.
This is 35 years. I had a fraternity brother from Miami. He pitched against Canseco in high school, did all this stuff. And we were out at the baseball field one day, and he's throwing breaking pitches at 1.5 feet, 2 feet, whatever. And I was like, how do you not play college baseball? He's like, I don't throw 90. Now it's I don't throw 94. I don't throw 95. And so if you are 14, like you say, you can either max it out because maybe you have a little more physical maturity or whatever the hell it is. You can either max it out or you cannot be nearly as good. And so I'm telling you, this is because hitters have gotten so good at an impossible task.
Okay,
that the only adjustment you have is to throw faster than they can catch up to it.
You're probably not wrong because people don't have the guts to do what I'm going to say.
Otherwise, you're Bryce Elder.
Did you see who was the cat pitching yesterday? Trevor Rogers?
Oh, yeah.
That gives hitters more trouble than velo. It does. I watched Matt Olson's face on one of those, and it happened the other night, too, and I forget what the pitch was that Olson struck out on, and the pitcher's coming off the mound making a face. I think change of speed gives these guys more trouble because they're so geared up now for 96, 97, and 98 that some team somewhere is going to take a chance. Now, it's a risky one. It could cost you your job because you could end up with Bryce Elder, and what happens when you don't have a guy throwing fast.
Or staff of Bryce Elders because it's an organizational philosophy.
Right. It's a very dangerous way to go. All I'm saying is if I'm a GM, I'm not paying you. I'm like, no, we're going to go through you're a running back. I'll see where you are after 5 years, and if you're the exception, I'll begrudgingly pay you, and I know it's probably going to come back to bite me at some point. Schwelly's the great example. Schwelly was getting outs at 96. The hell do you have to uptick your velo if you were getting Schwelly's mix of pitches was so good, but it's the pressure of the velo. The pressure of the velo. Just keep ramping it up, and he's like, oh, fractured my elbow. Now, I will say this about Alex. He has not paid pitching market value price, and he just won't, whether you like that or not. You can have your decision on it. The entire Braves starting rotation, when healthy this year, made under $40 million. And half of that was Sale at $22 million, and he's got the broken ribs. But Schwelly, $770 minimum. AJ Smith-Shawver minimum. Raylo was making $8 this year, and Strider this year is $5. He pops up to $20 next year. Next year, the Braves are still under $50 million. Sale's $18, Strider's $20, Raylo's $14, Schwelly nothing, Holmes nothing. Just to give you an example, if those are the five. I don't see. That just doesn't mean it's the Braves philosophy. It might be an Alex philosophy. I don't think he's going to pay a pitcher market value.
I don't believe he will across the staff either. One thing about the Schwelly lock him up, that talk was it also, Matt, remember it was at the same time that Max Fried was getting off to the start that he was getting off to, and we didn't get him. Why? Because he was too expensive. All right, here is the kick in the ass, though, if you're a pitcher. Matt, you're talking about, and you're right, it would, health-wise, to keep these guys around, talented, take something off the accelerator. Absolutely, you're right about that. That's if you're a starter. Can you imagine trying to be a bullpen arm right now, and it's just this list of off-speed junk you throw? Mm-hmm. This is bad. It runs together. Was it Friday or Saturday that Montero had his adventure?
Saturday in the 9-6 extra.
That was exactly when it was. Okay. That guy, live arm, hell, he's got as live arm as anybody on that staff.
Doesn't know where it's going.
No clue. And so you had against the Angels last week, he looked just banging, and then he comes in and gives it all up against Baltimore. So,
but what do we say about
you can't be a bullpen arm. You won't be on a major league roster as a bullpen pitcher.
What do we say about Iglesias a lot of times? He doesn't throw 99. Sometimes he can touch 97, but his best pitch was what forever? The changeup.
Changeup.
Right. It's just, again, it takes organizational guts. It takes a different philosophy that it'll get you fired if it backfires. It's easy to alibi for velo. He threw 99. He got hurt. You could see how it happened.
Yeah, Jeff Facero's not real anymore, though. That sucks.
It's not a real thing, but it kills me that there's not an adult in the room to say to Schwelly, you don't have to throw 99. I was at the game. I was with my kids, and I looked up on the board. He's throwing 100. I'm like, well, why is he throwing on? He was getting outs at 96, 97 because we got to a point where we think, and I see this on social every time with Strider, he can't get outs at 96. The hell? If he has better location, changes speeds once in a while, yeah, you can get outs at 96.
Did you do, probably not, a big deep dive on the American League All-Star staff? Do you see DeGrom's on it?
If you say so.
Okay, Jacob DeGrom's on the All-Star.
He's healthy?
Exactly. He has had 3 specific, shut him down surgery on his elbow or shoulder. He's had 3 of those. He came back this year. You talk about either he's stubborn or he just refuses to learn or whatever because he's pitching the same approach as he's always had. I've always said you don't have to try to pitch to a 1.9. If you're Jacob DeGrom, you come back and you're trying to pitch to a 1.9. You do. You don't learn.
But you
don't learn anything. Maybe he's already learned how to be successful at this level.
But he also realizes I'm on a expiration. Like there's a
he's got a sell by day.
Yeah, and it's next time could be the last time. The problem is when 24-years think like that. And it's just so frustrating.
Yeah.